In just a few weeks into 2025, a whirlwind of economic decisions by President Trump has everyone asking, could these bold moves lead us to economic disaster, or are they the tough choices needed to steer America back on track? From incentives encouraging federal workers to resign, impacting even the IRS, to much-needed border enforcement that could tighten our labor markets, and new tariffs that will make everyday goods and services more expensive. These policies aren't just headlines, they're real changes that could affect everybody. But what's the real story? Today we're breaking down the actions taken, the potential impacts, and what history might tell us about our future. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into what's really happening in and around the world and how that affects your finances. If you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button to stay on top of the most pressing financial issues that affect you. So are we merely witnessing necessary pain for long-term gain? Or are we headed toward an economic downturn that could echo the Great Depression? Let's find out. And with the IRS operating under constraints, expect continued delays with your taxes and slower response time. It's a ripple effect that touches us all. Let's start by looking at where the US economy stands today. In 2024, we saw GDP growth slow down to just 1.8%. That's a sharp decline from previous years. While reported unemployment numbers are relatively low at 3.9%, it has been inching upwards. And though this might seem like a good sign at first glance, the trend hits at possible trouble ahead. Consumer spending, which fuels a large part of our economy, is also showing signs of strain. With the recent introduction of tariffs and other restrictive measures, the cost of goods and services has started to climb. This, combined with increasing market interest rates, means that loans for homes, cars, and other essentials are becoming more and more expensive. People are starting to tighten their belts, which could lead to a further economic slowdown. On the business front, we're seeing a similar trend. Investments in sectors like construction and manufacturing, they've all slowed down. Businesses are bracing for potential economic turbulence by focusing on cost-cutting, layoffs, rather than expansion. Add to this the new pressures from tariffs and a potential shortage of labor due to stricter immigration policies, and you've got a recipe for disruptions across the board. And let's not forget about the impact on our tax system. The IRS, now under a hiring freeze, is struggling to keep up, and not to mention IRS Commissioner Danny Werfel resigning. This means more delays in tax processing and processing refunds, which affects millions of Americans relying on that money for their financial health. To understand what might lie ahead, it's useful to look back at history, especially significant economic downturns like the Great Depression of 1929. It's important to recognize that such catastrophes don't just happen overnight. They're often the result of a combination of factors that build up over time. Consider the late 1920s. Rampant speculation in the stock market, excessive use of credit, and overproduction in industries like agriculture and manufacturing set the stage for disaster. When the bubble burst, it wasn't just the stock market that collapsed. The entire economy spiraled into chaos, leading to decades of hardship. Fast forward to today, and there are some unsettling parallels. Global debt levels are staggering, staying at over 307 trillion, nearly 4 times the world's GDP. Just like the 1920s, we're seeing speculative bubbles in real estate and tech stocks, driven by easy credit and high consumer spending. And then there's the wealth gap. The disparity between the rich and the poor are at levels reminiscent of the pre-depression era. This economic fragility is a ticking time bomb, making our global economy vulnerable to financial shocks. Protectionist policies like the tariffs we're seeing now also played a role in worsening the Great Depression. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930, for instance, choked off international trade and deepened the economic slump worldwide. Today's tariffs, going back and forth, could similarly disrupt trade and aggravate economic tensions at a time when stability is needed the most. With historical precedents in mind, let's hear from today's leading economists on the potential for recession in 2025. Opinions vary. highlighting the complexity of our current economic environment. Mark Zandi, the chief economist at Moody's Analytics, holds a cautiously optimistic view. He points out, while the risks are certainly high, robust consumer spending and steady job growth could be the buffers that prevent a full-blown recession. On the flip side, Nouriel Roubini, famously nicknamed Dr. Doom, offers a stark contrast. He warns that the combination of high debt levels, rising interest rates, and escalating global tensions makes a recession not just possible, but inevitable. And then there's Fed Chief Jerome Powell, who has expressed concerns about navigating these turbulent waters. Balancing inflation control with maintaining economic stability, he says, is becoming increasingly challenging. Adding to the concern, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, they predict that global economic growth could shrink to just 2.1% in 2025, teetering close to what many economists consider recession territory. The varied insights from these economic experts paint a picture of an uncertain future, with Trump's recent policy changes like the incentivized federal worker exits, immigration crackdowns affecting labor markets, and new tariffs. The economic fabric of our nation is being tested. These policies might be designed to strengthen long-term economic independence and security, but they also pose immediate challenges that could tip us into recessionary conditions, depending on how other global dynamics play out. So, as we've explored throughout the video, the question of whether we're headed for a recession in 2025 under President Trump's current policies is complex. The parallels with the past, the current economic indicators, and the mixed expert opinions paint a picture of an uncertain future. But it's not all doom and gloom. History teaches us that while economic downturns are challenging, they also come with opportunities for growth and innovation. By understanding the factors at play, such as debt levels, market speculations, and policy impacts, we can better prepare ourselves for whatever the economy might throw our way. Whether you're managing a household budget, running a business, or just planning your future, staying informed is your best defense against uncertainty. We can't control the economy, but we can control how we respond to it. I encourage you to dive deeper, keep asking questions, pay attention, and engage in discussions, whether here in the comments or with your community. So what do you think about the current economic strategies? Do you see them as a necessary step towards a more stable economy, or as potential triggers for a new recession? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you found this analysis helpful, please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Together we'll stay informed, stay wise, and navigate these uncertain times with confidence. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.